Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the new DC Collectibles 6-inch scale DC Comics Icons Blue Beetle figure. Now this figure comes in the same style of packaging we've seen with the other Icons figures. You've got the window box packaging. For this one we have white and blue colors on the box. The figure's clearly displayed. Off to the side we have the figure's name, and it tells us this is figure number 6 in the series, and down below we have the Icons logo with the little beetle in the O. On the very side of the packaging it tells us this figure is based on the Infinite Crisis storyline, and then on the back of the packaging we have a look at all the figures in this wave. So we've got Flash, Blue Beetle, Black Adam, and Lex Luthor. And then down below it tells us the figure was designed by Ivan Reyes and sculpted by Paul Harding. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so for accessories, the figure comes with a pair of wings, and these are done with a semi-transparent type plastic. You've got some line work designed to give it that kind of insect wing look to it. And like I said, it's semi-transparent, the plastic part, and then you've got some detail where it actually connects to the body, which makes it look more like the armor portion of the costume. And you want to make sure that when you attach it to the back of the figure, this part of the wing is sticking upwards. And so basically what you do is the figure's got 2 holes on its back, and you just plug the wings in. And so you can take them, if you don't want him to have the wings, you can take them off, obviously. The wings do kind of stick out a little bit. Unfortunately, they don't have any articulation as far as like a hinge or anything, so that you could like mimic various flapping poses. You can obviously turn the wings down a little bit, but when you do that, even when you have it kind of like the wings turned down, they still stick out pretty good. So if you don't want the wings to be seen, it's best just to take the wings off. Now the other accessories that he comes with is he comes with 2 different gun hands. So these are just blue. They're done with blue plastic. You've got some white, a cream white color sprinkled throughout. So on this one, which looks kind of like a Gatling gun almost, you've got the cream color on the back and then some circles on it to give it some added detail. I think these fire lasers, even though it looks kind of like a Gatling gun. You also have some of that white cream on the front as well. But pretty nice sculpting detail with this. And then the other one I think is a Sonic gun. And again, pretty nice detailing, but just a basic blue. And so how this works is you just pull the hand off at the glove cuff, and you can put it on either hand. You can give him one one weapon, or you can give him 2 weapons, however you want to do it. And you just snap whichever one that you want on whichever arm you want, and it gives him that extra firepower. So you can do one, or you can do both. And they stay on nice and tight, so no problem there, and you can actually rotate them a little bit. Now, this is the only set of hands he comes with, so he only comes with 1 pair of regular hands, and they are closed-fisted hands. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think there's some nice sculpting detail with this. He's got that Beetle backpack thing. I forget what they call this, the official name of it, but this is basically what gives him his powers, and it attaches to his back. It's not removable on this figure. He's got these little claw tentacles that stick out the top, and then he's got these other claw pieces that kind of grip around his back. So the ones on the top are a harder plastic, have a little bit of flexibility, but not a whole lot. Same with the next set that go over his shoulders, but then the ones that go around his midsection, they're very soft type plastic. And then the rest of the figure is just sculpted to kind of give it that armored look. You've got navy, I think this is a very dark blue navy type color, and then you've got the lighter blues throughout. On the face, I think the face sculpting is pretty good. You've got the line work for the mouth, and then the eyes, which are whited out, and you've got the various blue pieces which are sculpted. They're not just painted, so it gives it that armored look to it, which is nice. And he's got the shoulder pads, and then down here on his leg he's got, again, this kind of a white cream color, these little dots on his leg. So very true to what we see in the comic books. I'm not super familiar with this version of the Beetle. This version I'm more familiar with from the Young Justice cartoon, and so I haven't read a whole lot of of the comics with this version of Blue Beetle. The one thing I just want to note with the paint applications, they're pretty solid for the most part, but I do want to note here on his elbows, the joints on his elbows are the lighter blue, and then the rest of his arm is that darker navy blue. Now I did some checking, and it actually looks like, at least on some of the images I've seen for the character, that could be considered actually costume accurate. He has a lighter blue spot there kind of in his midsection of his costume on his arms. I've seen other images where it's not, it's just the whole arm is just a darker color, but I don't think that that's a paint error for the most part. I think that is actually done deliberately to have that lighter blue color there, like in some of the images I've seen for the costume. Okay, so the figure stands at about 5 3/4 inches tall. He's a little bit taller if you count to the tips of these claw tentacles on his back, but it basically comes out to about 5 3/4 inches tall, which I think might make him the shortest of the icons to date, which kind of makes sense because if I'm not mistaken, I think this version of Blue Beetle is a teenager or a kid, so it would make sense that maybe he's not as tall as other superheroes. So he's not that much shorter, but like here he is next to the icon's Batman, and you can see Batman is a little bit taller. Same with Mr. Miracle, though they're closer to the same height, but again, I think Miracle has maybe an inch on him. And then here's the Green Lantern figure, and Hal Jordan is definitely taller than Blue Beetle here. Okay, so articulation on the figure is pretty good. The head's on a ball joint so he can look left and he can look right. He has no up or down movement on this one. Arms are attached at with the standard ball hinge joint at the shoulder. Now, one thing I want to note, he has these little shoulder pads, but they're actually made of just a soft rubber, so you can actually get the arm all the way out. It does bend that shoulder pad a little bit. You can see it kind of crumpling up a little bit there because it's just that soft rubber. So you do want to be careful because you could, kind of stretch that out or bend it. So I would be careful when doing, like, having the arm straight out like that. But you can actually do it. He's got good rotation. He's got the bicep swivel. That shoulder pad does get in the way a little bit of the bicep swivel. He's got a double jointed elbow, so he's got good bending at the elbow. Then he's got a swivel at the glove cuff, and then he's also got a swivel at the wrist, and he's got the hinges on the hands, so he's got good up and down movement with the hands. He's got the midsection joint, so he can rotate a little bit. Actually, he's got pretty good rotation. The backpack really doesn't limit too much of the rotation since those side legs are soft rubber material. He's also got an ab crunch joint so he can crunch down and he can look up. Though, again, the head really has no up movement at all, so he's still, even though he's kind of arched back, his face or his head is still pointed straight ahead. Legs are attached with ball joints. He can do the splits good. He can get his leg forward good. He can get his leg back good. Like with all the figures, no thigh swivel. Double jointed knee, so he's got good bending at the knee. And then he's got the hinges on the feet, and he's got the ankle pivot. And 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I think this is a pretty nice figure. I would have liked to have seen some hinge joints on the wings to give you some more posability there, but otherwise I think it's a pretty good figure. I'm not a huge fan of this version of the Blue Beetle. I prefer the more classic look for the character, but if you do like this kind of armored up version of the character, then I think you'll definitely want to add this one to your collection. It is out on shelves now at comic and specialty shops. The figure should cost about $25. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.